Long ago, in a vast kingdom, people admired their king for his wisdom and fairness. Every day, villagers came with problems, land disputes, thefts, family quarrels, and the king always gave justice. But one day, a case came that would test even his judgment. Two women entered the royal court, both holding on tightly to the arm of the same baby. Their eyes were filled with tears, but their hearts were full of anger. The first woman cried out desperately, "Your Majesty, this child is mine. I carried him for 9 months. I fed him. I raised him. But she has snatched him from me." The second woman interrupted, shouting loudly, "No, this baby is mine. She is lying to you, trying to steal what belongs to me." The court began to buzz with whispers. Everyone wondered, who is telling the truth? The baby was too young to speak, too innocent to reveal his real mother. The king leaned forward on his throne, watching both women closely. He asked questions. Where was the child born? Who was present? What food does he like? Both women answered quickly, almost perfectly. Their stories sounded so convincing that even the wisest ministers were left confused. The king sighed deeply. He had solved countless disputes, but this one seemed impossible. If he chose the wrong woman, an innocent child would lose his true mother forever. At that moment, he called for his daughter, the young princess admired throughout the kingdom for her intelligence and fairness. She entered gracefully, listened quietly to the arguments, and then closed her eyes in thought. The entire court waited anxiously. Suddenly, she stood up and spoke words that shocked everyone. "Bring me a sword. Cut the baby into 2 pieces. Give half to each woman." The crowd gasped. Some covered their mouths in horror, others looked at the king in disbelief. Was this truly her solution? One woman clapped her hands and smiled cruelly. "Yes, that is fair. If I cannot have him, neither will she. Give me half, give her half." But the other woman let out a heartbreaking cry. She ran forward, fell to her knees before the throne and pleaded, "No, please, do not harm the child. Let her take him. I would rather lose him forever than see him die. Spare his life, I beg you." The court fell silent. Every eye turned to the princess. With calm certainty, she pointed to the woman who was crying and said, "Father, the truth is clear. Only a real mother would sacrifice her own happiness to protect her child's life. This woman is the true mother." The king's face softened with pride. He ordered the child to be returned to the rightful mother, while the deceitful woman was cast out of the court in disgrace. The hall echoed with cheers, for justice and truth had triumphed. True love is not loud. It does not scream to prove itself. It sacrifices in silence. Pride may win arguments, but it destroys relationships. Real strength is not in possession, but in protection. In our lives, we often fight to be right, to hold on to our ego, to prove our power. But the real winners are those who let go of pride for the sake of peace, who choose humanity over selfishness, and who value love over possession. Just as the real mother chose her child's life over her own claim, we too must learn. Selflessness is the greatest power, and sacrifice is the proof of true love. Think about it. How many friendships have been broken, not because of real differences, but because no one wanted to take a step back? How many families have drifted apart because each person wanted to prove, "I am right and you are wrong"? At that moment, people forget that love is more important than pride, and peace is more valuable than victory. The truth is, ego can win an argument, but it can never win hearts. Ego can make us feel powerful for a moment, but in the long run, it leaves us empty and alone. The real strength lies in humility, the courage to say, "I value you more than my pride." That is not weakness, it is the highest form of power. When we choose love over ego, peace over conflict, compassion over anger, we rise above the ordinary. We show the world that true greatness is not in conquering others, but in conquering ourselves. The real mother in the king's court proved this. She was ready to give up everything, even her right to her own child, because she valued life over possession, love over pride. In your own journey, there will be moments where your ego will whisper, "Don't let go, don't back down, don't forgive." But remember this, every time you rise above ego, every time you choose to protect relationships instead of destroying them, Every time you choose to give instead of take, you are proving your true strength. Selflessness is not about losing. It is about winning in the deepest sense. It is about building trust, creating peace, and leaving behind a legacy that speaks louder than words. Power fades, pride breaks, but love and sacrifice live forever. So, when life gives you the choice between pride and peace, choose peace. When you can hold on to your ego or let it go, let it go. Because at the end of the day, the ones remembered are not those who fought hardest for themselves, but those who gave the most for others. Ask yourself, what is the meaning of success if it comes at the cost of relationships? What is the point of being right if in proving yourself you lose the people you love? History shows us that kingdoms have fallen, friendships have broken, and families have been destroyed, not by outside enemies, but by the pride that grew inside hearts. But look at the greatest leaders, the wisest souls. They were never remembered for their stubbornness. They were remembered for their compassion. A king may rule a land with force, but he rules hearts with kindness. A parent may control a child with fear, but they earn love with sacrifice. The same is true for us. In our homes, in our friendships, in our workplaces, we all face these moments. A harsh word, an argument, a fight. Our ego tells us, don't apologize first, don't give in. But love tells us, be the bigger person, save the bond. And every time you listen to love, you become stronger, not weaker. Remember this, ego destroys, but humility builds. Selfishness isolates, but selflessness connects. Anger wounds, but kindness heals. These are not just words. They are truths that can transform lives. The real mother's story is more than just a tale from a king's court. It is a mirror held up to our lives. She showed us that true love is not about keeping, but about protecting, even if it means letting go. That is the kind of love the world needs today, a love that is not selfish, a love that values life, peace, and humanity above all else. So, the next time you find yourself in a fight, stop and ask, what am I really fighting for? Am I fighting for truth, or just for my pride? Is this battle worth losing a relationship? If the answer is no, then step back. Because sometimes stepping back is the bravest step forward. In the end, the measure of our lives will not be how many times we won against others, but how many times we chose others over ourselves. That is the true definition of greatness, not pride, not ego, not victory, but love, sacrifice, and selflessness.